Welcome to me. I'm just kidding. Welcome to the retreat.
Yeah, anybody that is exerting influence over people is a leader. And that leadership comes with responsibility.
I like that. I like that.
The problem with leadership is that a lot of us have taken it to be a person that is, a boss, a person that is, in a position of authority, a person that is simply because, the way African structure is set up. And I don't even think that this is really unique to Africa, because I have been outside Africa and I have seen this happen. I have seen this happen where, the tendency is to respect or revere people that are in authority figures without understanding how leadership works. I would say this as any person that is able to exert influence is a leader.
Right.
I would say this to the effect that, okay, think about an organization. You have a boss that is giving instructions and is telling people what to do. They might not understand that the leader of that organization may not be that boss, but it may be somebody who is younger. And this person who is younger may be disengaged with their work. Disengagement is a state in which a person is not enjoying their work. They're not enjoying the people that they're working with, and so they focus their energy on other things, whatever it is that's important to them.
Right.
Now, say this person is influential in the office. This influential person in their office can actually manage to disengage all other people. So even if you and a lot of bosses might actually find themselves stuck because they have a leadership crisis, they're giving people instructions on what to do. However, people are following the attitude of a person that is disengaged, and this person is influential in their office. And so what do? They come to work and they do the bare minimum so that they do not get fired, instead of coming to do what it is that's going to help the company move forward.
Zeal and some enthusiasm.
Exactly, with zeal, enthusiasm, skill, and energy, such that the company is meeting its goals and is able to serve them better, whether it's through salaries and through that kind of thing. So those are leadership crises. Look at a country such as Zambia. I would definitely say the leaders of this country might actually be the artists. It might actually be the artists, because when you look at, especially amongst the youth.
Right.
Now, the thing about why I think the artists are the leaders is because these are the people that have the majority influence over the younger population, who are the majority. What are artists saying to young people? That is the direction the country is going. So if artists are telling you that you need to make sure that you have a pair of, Jordan 1s on your feet, and, care about your image and stuff like that, I would say artists, creatives, and stuff like that, those are the people that are leading. Because I was really quite, entertained, impressed, amused. Because when I was walking, I saw a group of high school students knocking off from school. And yes, they had their uniforms on, but then they had shades with a very colorful, glaring frame and do-rags on their heads. And they were walking proudly.
Okay.
There is one young influential man that has this, that would be Mix Kasamwa. So Mix Kasamwa is actually a youth leader. Whether he realizes it or whether he takes that responsibility or not very seriously, Mix Kasamwa is a leader of young people, because he has influence such that people will go out to dress like him.
So I have a question with regards to the technicalities of leadership as well as the reality of it. So technically, we would assign, technically would assign the tag of a leader to somebody that we have given a position of, some authority, right? But as you've put it, there's some people that sort of get into leadership purely by either circumstance. They were born into it. You're born first in the family of number of kids, so you're in the front.
No, firstborns are natural leaders because, I'm sorry, but natural selection decided up to you to set the example, to be
you are the front of the toothpaste, so everybody's following. But then I think the one that I think is particularly of concern is people that have influence because they are popular, because a lot of people are looking in their direction, because it's one thing to be influential, to attract the numbers, to have an audience and be able to say something and others just listen. But it's another thing to have...
I think the sun has relaxed, so I can...
Thank you. So it's another thing to have substance and actual skills with which you would lead people in the right direction.
100%.
As well as to have the ability to even lead yourself, which I think is what lacks in a lot of cases.
100%.
Everybody wants to lead others. Everybody knows what it is to lead others. They understand that you have to be in front and everybody has to be behind, and that's basically leading. They have to admire you, they have to like you and everything. But I feel people don't understand what it's like to lead yourself.
Oh no, 100%. Definitely. Here's the thing. When you have the type of authority that is birthed from people admiring and being loyal to you, I really definitely believe that in instances where you are aware of your deficiency, I don't want to call it that because that's not the exact word, in areas in which you are aware of your lack, it is important to have somebody whom you admire or whom you think is doing great in that area lead you there.
Right.
There are places in my life where people cannot tell me anything simply because I realize that in this particular instance, I have to follow what I know, what I admire, and what I believe to be true. So I will give you an example. There are people who are absolutely phenomenal businessmen.
Right.
Those are people that I will go to and ask them to teach me how to make money.
Right.
However, when I see people that are living lives that I would want to live, for example, if I see a person that I feel like is a good friend, is the type of person that I would want to be, those are people I would go to for advice in friendship.
Right.
If there is a marriage that I admire and I feel like this is what I want for myself, those are the people I will go to take advice about marriage.
Right.
So in instances where you are not able to lead yourself, those are the places in which you must be humble enough to recognize your lack and go and get that filled.
But how do people that I think by large are not self-aware figure out where they lack? Because I have always been saying one of the biggest lessons and like pivotal lessons in a person's life is when they realize that there's such a being as the self that they could actually sort of observe and criticize. Because in a lot of instances we're looking outside, we're seeing other people, we're seeing the world around us. We rarely have time to see ourselves as we actually are, because in most cases
True.
we just project things that we think that we are or want to be,
or feel are
these wishes
acceptable
and whims and all that stuff, but we rarely have an objective, true idea of what we really are, because we rarely look at ourselves with such honesty as would show us our weaknesses.
Yeah.
So then how does somebody get to that level of, okay, let me do this whole thing, this examination, this introspection, and figure out where I lack so as to find out who has these things that I lack and learn from them? How does somebody get to that point?
I would say the simplest answer to that I have is that this is a concept that I learned from Dr. Brené Brown. She is a researcher that has done a lot of work around vulnerability and shame, and I would say that vulnerability and shame are probably the two of the world's biggest pandemics, because those are the things that stop people from being themselves and who they are.
Right.
So number one thing that we need to learn is to mind the gap. Minding the gap refers to understanding who is it that you want to be.
Okay.
What is it that you want to do? What is the impact that you would want to leave? If you had to die, what do you want your eulogy to be? What do you want your eulogy to be? One great exercise that I learned in the leadership training was write your eulogy. So I wrote my eulogy as...
I wonder what was there.
I imagined that, my future husband was saying this in the church and just said, Camilla was... because obviously not everybody's going to be privy to every aspect of your life as a leader, because there's parts of our lives that simply are private, such as family. Not everybody's gonna share your school journeys. Just like, guys, that assignment was hard. Nobody's gonna be privy to that.
Right.
However, your nearest and dearest, and in our adult lives, that would most likely be your spouse, the person who knows you and has been with you for the longest time. Those would be the person that would, read your eulogy. So these are the things that you want to be seen as in public, and these are the things that you would love to embody in private, right? When you look at that, one thing that the biggest leadership saying is like, begin with the end in mind. So, who is it that I want to be? What impact do I want to make in the world? When I look at that, I need to take a look at where am I now? How am I doing with that? And I need to mind the gap. So what is it that I should be fulfilling in terms of family in order for them to say these things about me when I'm gone? What is it that I need to be doing in my education in order for them to say he did this or he achieved this? What is it I'm supposed to be doing with my music? What is it I'm supposed to be doing? And do that authentic to yourself, authentic to who you are, authentic. Because here's the thing, a lot of us run out of energy, and we run out of energy because it is draining to be anybody other than yourself. We also really get trapped in states where we have so valued role models disproportionately to the extent that we devalue ourselves because we don't believe we have something good to offer. We don't believe we have something unique to offer. And I'm gonna say something which every leadership trainer has said since the beginning: nobody is like you. Even twins have different fingerprints.